You're listening to The Bold Blueprint with Claire Bartlett. This is the go-to podcast for business owners who are ready to be bold, step into your power and claim the success that you deserve. So whether you're an established business or just starting out, this podcast is your weekly dose of unapologetic inspiration, empowerment and actionable advice to take your business to the next level. Today's episode is brought to you by Xero Accounting Software, a champion of small businesses and a proud sponsor of the Bold Blueprint podcast. Managing your business finances can feel overwhelming, but Xero simplifies it all and gives you the power to keep your books in order and your mind on growth. Xero have amazingly offered a 50% discount off your first 3 months with them. So if you'd like to take advantage of this amazing deal, just follow the link in the show note. But for now, let's jump into this week's episode. Welcome to this week's episode of The Bold Blueprint. Today, I am talking to you all about something that I am 100% confident we have all suffered with at least one point through our careers. And that is the Sunday Scaries, or the Sunday Dread, as some people know it. Now, for me, I know 100% when I was employed doing my 9 to 5 grind, I used to get to every Sunday evening and be like, oh my God, I've got to go back to work tomorrow. The weekend has gone way too quick. And your mind starts massively overworking, over analysing all of the things that you've got to get done that's waiting for you on your desk the next morning. And, the panic starts setting in, that anxiety. And I remember thinking the day that I set up my business and became self-employed that I was never, ever going to have that feeling again. And you know what? That wasn't the case. Now, you would imagine if you are your own boss, you are working for yourself, you are the CEO, that you have complete control over your working days and how you spend your time, that you wouldn't suffer from Sunday dread at all. But those Sunday Scaries have a real way of just eking their way back in. And it got me again in my business, where every Sunday I was starting to stress out a little bit, starting to think about what I had coming up that week. And because I now worked for myself, instead of just worrying about it, I used to start turning my laptop back on and thinking, oh, I'm just going to get ahead of the game. If I just do an hour or two now on the Sunday afternoon or the Sunday evening, then, I'm starting the week strong and Monday morning will be much less stressful and much easier. But actually, all that did was made it all so much worse, because I then had awoken my business mindset. I was raring to go. I was going to bed and my head was reeling of all of the different things that I had to focus my time on, all of the things on that never ending to-do list. And I would end up not sleeping very well, tossing and turning all night. And then waking up Monday morning, feeling exhausted already, feeling like I'd already lost before the week had even started. And then that would spiral into the whole week of just feeling drained and feeling like I was trying to catch my tail constantly. And then it would all happen again, and the next week and the next week. And it felt like a never ending cycle. Well, I am here to tell you today that it doesn't have to be that way. We are in control of how we spend our time in our business. And so often the real thing that is causing all of these situations for you and all of that anxiety and stress is that we're prioritizing and putting our energy into the wrong things in our business. I don't know whether you have ever heard of the 80-20 rule, but I live by this in my business now. And I'm telling you, it made such a massive difference for me. And the realization is that actually 80% of the stress, of the anxiety, comes from 20% of my workload. And 80% of the income that comes into my business and the revenue that is generated comes from only 20% of my actions. So this really got me analyzing my to-do list and figuring out, okay, well, what are those 20% tasks that I can focus on that are going to get me the 80% of the reward and the momentum that I'm looking for? What are those real diamond tasks? What are the real diamonds in the rough here, hiding in my to do list that if I just prioritize those and I mainly get those tasks done first, I know I will have already made huge leaps forward in my business. I will have done 80% of the necessary work to increase my revenue, to move my business forward. And it was a real mindset shift because when you own your business, especially in the early days when it is just you and you don't have a team yet, you can feel so overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks that need to be done on a daily basis to move your business forward. But let me ask you a question. If we look at, say, building a new logo or updating your website, do you think that creating a new logo for your business is going to directly impact the amount of revenue that is coming into your business right now? Because I'm telling you that the answer is no. It's not a directly revenue generating task. And therefore, should it really be causing you so much anxiety, taking up so much of your energy and so much of your time? The answer is no. It's not a task that should be prioritized. And there are so many of these little tasks that as business owners, we put so much weight on them and we think they are so important and complete necessities in our business. But they're really not. They're just sucking our energy. Now, I know of loads of hugely successful business owners that will openly admit that for the first 2 to 3 years of their business, they didn't even have a website. They didn't have any way of marketing their business apart from just showing up on social media, um, you know, booking those live talks and just getting that visibility. But I know also so many business owners that not only spend unlimited amount of time on building a website, but also spend thousands of pounds. And again, is that the best way to be spending your time and your money when you're a new business? Because you need to be holding on to all the money that you have in that business in the beginning because you need to reinvest it and reinvest your energy to keep building the momentum of the recurring revenue and bringing that income in for you. So I want to ask you all to, first of all, brain dump absolutely everything that you have got going on in your mind right now. Because when it comes to Sunday and having all of these thoughts rushing around in our head, it's like having a really messy desk. When your desk is absolutely swamped with bits of paper and little post-it notes here and there, you can't focus on one thing. You're not completing any of your projects because you're flitting from one to the other. And hello, I'm holding my hands up. I have been guilty of this too. We all are, right? We have a million things going on. But if you clear the desk and you clear your mind and you just get absolutely everything out on the table. Now, for me, I am old school. I love nothing more than a beautiful pad and a pen, and I physically write everything down. And having that physical action of writing it down and taking it out of my brain, I can almost physically feel the reaction of, I'm filing these things away and I'm clearing my mind. And it's meaning that I don't have to stress about worrying about it, remembering it, because one of my biggest fears, especially with perimenopausal brain now, is forgetting things. I'm so nervous that I will forget a task. So for me, having this action and just writing everything out means that it can never be forgotten, but I don't have to hold on to it in my mind because I know that anytime I look at my to-do list, it's there, it's safe and secure, and then I can focus my time and prioritize my tasks accordingly. So when this Sunday Scaries started kicking back in for me, and it spiraled to the point where I was starting to spend, 3 or 4 hours every Sunday working through my emails, my to-do list, and just trying to get myself organized to beat, the pressure of a Monday morning. I realized, why am I spending my Sunday afternoons doing this? My Sunday should be time for beautiful long walks with the family, cozying up on the sofa, watching a family movie, just having a really relaxed day, curling up with one of my favorite books. but I had let my business take control of me and how I spent my time. And I am not okay with that. And you shouldn't be either. That was not the deal, right? When I set up my business, that I was giving away control of my time to not to a boss or an employer, but now to the business. No, I am not signing up for that. I was signing up for complete control and freedom over my time. So I realized that something had to change. The way I did that was blocking out time in my diary on a Friday afternoon or a Thursday, whatever the last working day was for me in the week. And it was only 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But I did this brain dump. I got everything that was going on in my head out on paper. And then I would prioritize them. I would put them into four categories. And this was a massive turning point for me when I realized that actually not all tasks deserve my time or my energy at all, let alone right now. And those four categories are urgent and important. These are the tasks that are very much likely to be your diamond tasks. These are the things that are really important, are really going to make momentum in your business and move your business forward. And they're really urgent. There's a real importance to them and something that you need to focus on at your earliest convenience. Then there's important but not urgent. And again, these are probably diamond tasks. They're things that are really going to need your attention, but there's no sort of time deadline on those. So there's no urgency. They can be put slightly further down the list. They're things for me to get to next. Then there was the tasks that are not important, but they are urgent. So these often are things that are filing your taxes or um, something for a client. These are things that aren't important for my business and moving my business forward, but there's a time frame on them. So they unfortunately do need your energy and your time, and they need to be put accordingly into your weekly plan. They can also, they're the perfect tasks to delegate. So if you are looking to hire a staff member, you potentially have a VA or some admin assistants, those are the sorts of tasks that can be easily passed off to someone else. Again, freeing up your time and your mental capacity. And finally, there's so many of these, the tasks that are not important and not urgent. How many tasks do you think you have on your to-do list right now that would fit into this category? These are the ones that are taking up your time, taking up your mental capacity and filling your days, causing you anxiety and stress, and they're not serving you in any way in your business. These are the tasks that you just need to ditch. Just get rid of them. If you feel nervous about literally just scrapping these tasks, then I actually have a second list that I move them onto. That if I ever find the luxury of a bit spare time, or when I'm doing my quarterly or my annual reviews of the business, I will review that list because some of them, as your business grows and as things progress, they do become important or they do become urgent, so they can then come back over. But for now, just clearing them off that main to-do list feels so amazing because we all talk about having that never-ending to-do list, don't we? But actually, this can really drastically reduce it and it can feel amazing. So I really urge you all to spend a bit of time on the last working day of the week for you. 20 minutes, honestly, and get everything that is going on and running around our brain, get it all out on paper or in digital form, whichever will work best for you. And then spend a bit of time categorizing those tasks. The next thing that's really important, and especially now where so many of us are working from home, so we don't have that very clear separation, it's the physical act of closing down your laptop. And I know that sounds silly, but for a long time, I was leaving my laptop on and leaving it set up in my office. And I was finding that, while dinner was cooking, I would just pop in just to send a quick email or, check on how something was doing. Or I would be like, oh, I'll just spend half an hour now just catching up so I don't have to worry about it. And it made coming to work on a Sunday so much easier for me because everything was switched on and I would tell myself I'd just be 5 minutes and I was here 4 hours later. So actually making a sort of ritual out of it. Now I have a process where I will tidy my desk, I will clear it down for the week. I will physically close my laptop and I say to myself at the time, I am done with work for the week. I'm looking forward to the weekend. And then I will turn the light off. I'm lucky enough to have an office, so I will close the door to the office and I will get changed. So I will move out of the working clothes, which I work from home, so are normally leggings or jeans and a jumper. But I will get changed or I will go for a walk. I will do something that signifies to me and my body and my mind that work is over and I'm into the weekend. And it's been so dramatic, the change. Spending the perfect Sunday with my family, making those memories, having complete freedom over how I spend that time. And that's what business is about, right? That's what we should all be doing. We should all be spending our Sundays and our entire weekends recharging our batteries, setting ourselves up for a really beautiful another week in work that we are so passionate about because when we go into business for ourselves, we do it because we have immense pleasure and passion for helping those clients or serving those people, however our business is set up. But this is where things like the Sunday Scaries and the overwhelm and the pressure and the burnout that we put on ourselves can take that away. It can steal all of the passion that you once had for your business. And if you let that happen, suddenly one day you'll wake up and think, why am I even doing this? Because let's be honest, being in business is hard, right? And it probably is potentially harder than being employed and just working those 9 to 5 hours because we are responsible for everything. There is a huge amount of responsibility in being a business owner. And if you don't manage those responsibilities, you don't give yourself the time to relax and recharge, then it can very quickly lead to burnout and that huge feeling of overwhelm, of constantly being behind and trying to chase, and that anxiety that can bubble up inside you. So, I would love you to let me know what your ideal Sunday is. Please tell me in the chat below or drop me an email. How do you absolutely love to spend your Sunday? Like, I want all the details. And if you are struggling at the moment, like I was, to accommodate that and you're not living your best life on a Sunday, I have just the thing for you. I've created a beautiful new free download. It's a guide on how I rearranged my thought process and my business to ensure that I always had that time on a Sunday. It gives loads of advice and guidance, and it's completely free to you. So I will put the link to that in the comments below, in the show notes for you all. But I really just want you to start taking back control over your business and over your time. Clearing your mind on that last working day makes such a huge difference. It makes you feel like you are in control, which is so important to us. And it's also really cleansing to go through that list and organize them into those categories and then see where you should be focusing your time and energy in the coming week, because clarity is the only thing that will help you wake up every morning full of joy and passion for your business and full of determination and that like that just peace of mind that you know exactly what you need to do that day to move your business further towards your goals and ambitions. And it is a really amazing place to be. So thank you all so much for joining me this week. Don't forget to go and get your free download. The link will be in the show notes for you, and I will catch up with you all next week. Have a great weekend. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode, which was brought to you by Xero Accounting Software, a champion of small businesses and a proud sponsor of the Bold Blueprint podcast. If you're running a small business and you are dreaming big, then Xero is here to help make those dreams a reality. Xero is all about supporting entrepreneurs just like you, who are not just running businesses but are also changing the game. So whether you're just starting out or you're scaling up, join a global community of small businesses who trust Xero to manage their finances efficiently.